Very good morning, my dear student. So today I'm going to start the new chapter under your employability skill, or the first chapter under your employability skill, that is the communication skill. Communication means the way that you can do the communication among the different people, or you can build up the communication among the different people. So communication skills means the ability, that means what the ability you have or you can possess to make your communication much more and much more implicable or much more effective to the other peoples. Okay, so this is what the communication is about, and there are the different pattern of skills are there. Okay, so what is a communication skill? What we say that you probably hear people talking about the communication all the times. Okay, every time we find it that people are talking about the communication everywhere, every place, in your home, in your friend circle, in your area, in your locality, everywhere you can find that people do the communication in the various way. Suppose you are moving in a road and you see one person, you cannot talk with him. What do? You shake your hands. Okay, you wave your hands. So those are the also a pattern of communication. That means there is a communication. What we find that you need and you want it, but exactly what communication is, that let us try to understand it. Say here that there should be one what person who will going to give the information. That means this is what the giving information. Okay, and this is what the receiving information. Now before receiving information, what the person is doing, the person is sending, asking the information. That means this is the person who is the sender. After the sender sends something, the receiver, here this person is a receiver. Okay, and this person is a sender. So when sender sends something, the receiver receives it. After the receiver received it, receiver gives some data to it. So that data is received by the sender. That means now the processing is totally completed. What we see, we can see the communication is a sharing of informations between what two or more individuals within a group to reach to a common understanding. Okay, the word communication comes from a Latin word what? Communicare. Communicare means to share. Okay, so this is the thing, this is the word which came from the Latin word communicare. From the communicare, what does it mean? It means that you are sharing something. Okay, so when you are sharing something, what we find that there are some very important parts of the communication. So you are communicating. When you are communicating, what we find that there are the abilities, different types and different patterns of abilities are there. So abilities to communicate clearly and share the thoughts. That means what is your thought? What are you are thinking, or what is your feelings? What are your ideas? All these particular thing will help you in your relationship with the other people. Okay, so this is what we can say. That means this is what we can find it, that you can communicate, you can send your ideas, your thoughts, your particular understandings, your feelings, everything with the help of the or with the process of the communication. So as a student, what we can say that you may study the different pattern of language, but it is very important for what, that you may able to read, you may able to write, you may able to speak, you may able to listen. Okay, in order to communicate properly, that means you need to understand everything. You need to read, you can read, you can write, you can speak, you can listen. Okay, after you do so, what you find it, then you have the ability to do the communication properly. Because if you don't understand one language, if you don't understand that writing of that particular type of language. Okay, suppose something is written in Tamil you cannot read, you cannot understand. So that means the communication is not proper. Okay, so speaking more than one language, if a person can speak more than one language, what we can say, you can find that particular person can very well communicate around the world. That means wherever or which part of the world the person goes, in that part of the world the person can very easily communicate, very easily share the ideas and build up the ideas and make one relationship in that area. How? Because the person know that what the language is, how to speak that language, what is the meaning of that language, what is the writer, that means the writing pattern of the language. So each and everything what is there can be easily understandable by that one. Like English language, we all are now very aware of this thing, because we all in India, we all understand the English language very nicely in the city area and in the suburb area. Okay, because people, we find it that maximum of our conversation, maximum of our study is in this particular language. If you go to England, we can find in England the peoples are also speaking in English language. But what is the difference? The difference is that in the different region they has a different types of English languages are there. Okay, so this is what you can find it, this is what you can see, that those the particular thing, those the particular people in the different area has their different languages. Like in your family, what you find, in your family you have your mother tongue, like either Hindi or Bengali or Bhojpuri or Bihari or Nepali or any other Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, whatever is your mother tongue, you are very aware of that particular language and you can work on that particular language very nicely, isn't it? So you are very habituated of that particular language, you are talking in this particular language, what we say that it is your communication skill. Okay, now we can find that there in the communication skill, what is your requirement? First and foremost that you require, first and foremost thing that is your required is inform. Okay, so time to time you are meeting with a different person. Time to time, what you are doing, you are doing a get together with a different person. So, what you are doing, you are exchanging your ideas, thoughts, your understandings, your feelings, everything. Next one is influence, that how you are influencing that particular person. Okay, there are the different persons, there are different friends, you have a different pattern of friend, like shopkeepers are there, the different types of sellers are there, your friend circle is there. So all these what are there, what we find that how you are influencing them, how you are making them and how you are negotiating with them to reduce to do the different work. Like you are talking with the shopkeeper, you are influencing the shopkeeper to reduce the price of that commodity. Okay, so this is what, this is also a type of a communication. Expressing the feelings, you have a different patterns of feelings, so you are saying you, or you are showing your excitement, you are showing your anxiety, you are showing your sad, you are showing your or sorrows, isn't it? So all these different types of feelings what you have, what you find it, it can be successful when the receiver can receive it and you can work on that particular area. Okay, so this is the part you can find, this is the part we can see, that when you are working on it, when you are finding on it, you find it that when you are doing a communication, in a communication, those the things are very important for what. First is inform, second is influence, and third is the expressing the feelings. There are the different patterns of feelings are there. Now see here the elements of the communication. What is the element of the communication? The first and foremost, see here there is one sender and there is one receiver. Okay, one sender is there and one receiver is there. So as you find it that there is a sender, this is the sender and this one is your receiver. So sender sends the different types of signals or informations, like communication is a part of the sender. First sender will send, a sender sends the message or give and or asks the information to be collected. Okay, so what we find is that when you find those things, one channel is being set up, the channel or the path will be set up. It can be through a phone, it can be vice versa, it can be face to face talking, it can be WhatsApp chatting, whatever it is. Okay, so what we find it, there will be a receiver. Now receiver will reply to it. That means receiver, the messenger will message it, that will encode it, the receiver will reply to it, and receiver will going to decode it. Okay, so this is the thing what we find, that encoding and decoding, those the encoding and decoding, what we find it, that each and every encoding and decoding we find it, that there are different types of messages are there, and all those different patterns of messages what we find, they has a different type of replies, they are the different pattern of senders are there, and the receiver receives and receiver send the information to the sender. Okay, so this is how we can find, this is how we can see the work can be conducted. So as you can see that communications are what, two-way communication. Minimum how many person you require, you require a two-person. Okay, two-person to exchange the information. So giving and receiving the information, speaking and writing. For example, what we say that giving the information, okay, reading and listening. So some of these examples what we find that are there, and that we're going to do at the time of communication. Clear? So what are the perspectives of the communication? Why we require the communication? The perspectives are the ideas, the views, or you fix the different ways of thinking. What we find, there are something they are very much effective, isn't it? So we find it that you have to fix your ideas, you have to fix your goals, and after fixing the goal, then what we can say, that there are the different types of what communication skills are there. So even when we find that you have a different type of friends, okay, many friends are there, you are talking with your friends, so as you are talking with your friend, you have to keep some restriction on it. Okay, you have to do some work which is implicable on it. So those the work which is implicable on it, we find it that each and every work, there are the different type of ideas that are needed to be fixed. Okay, so all the ideas what are there, all the effective ways what are there, that you are going to fix it up, and you will going to have your perfect communication system. Okay, so this is the communication what we find that can be conducted to it. Now what are the factors you can find, the factors that are affecting to this? Okay, what are the factors you can find they are effective in this perspectives of the communication? First and foremost, language. Okay, so linguistic barrier is one of the very big barrier among the people. Suppose incorrect words, what the words, suppose we are using some words in Bengali or in Hindi or in the other language, that means a different thing in Punjabi or in Marathi or in Gujarati, isn't it? So linguistic barrier is one of the very big barrier is there. We find it that if you are not familiar with that language, you cannot speak them, you cannot show your gesture, you cannot express your feeling, and when you cannot express your feeling, there will be a big barrier of communication will going to come. So one wish is that uh, here also it is said that one people is speaking in Hindi, and he don't know either the Chinese, either the Mandarin, all these different type of languages. So when you don't know all these things, obviously those three persons or three people cannot communicate among themselves. They cannot share their ideas, they cannot give their views. This is what the language is. Second is a visual prospection. Visual prospection means what we say, that when we see a person, we can see the person, when we can judge it. Okay, we can judge it. Suppose a person is wearing a very torn, very poor clothes, isn't it? So we are judging it by saying the person activities or the dress up, or how the person is been what presenting himself or herself. Okay, so visual prospections is one of the big. Next what we can find, past experiences. You can have a lot of experiences. Suppose you have went to a shop and the shopkeeper cheated you, so you have a very bad experience. So when you go there, you talk with the other person, you will say, don't go to that shop, the shopkeeper cheated everyone, isn't it? So this is what the next what we can find, that there is prejudice. Okay, prejudice means what? Prejudice means that you will going to fix the things that no one in any in my class listen to me. Okay, so you can find it that there you will going to do the communication, and you can make up the communication very openly. Sorry. Next is what? Feeling. So what you are feeling about the matter. If you are feeling very good, then you can express yourself. If you are feeling very bad, that also you can express yourself. So your feelings also make a different pattern of changes. Lack of interest about the topic, lack of interest about the subject, isn't it? That will going to show in your work environment, in which environment you are working, which environment you are doing. Suppose you are working an area where you find there is a lot of noise, lot of disturbance is there. So when there is a lot of noise, lot of disturbance, you cannot work there, isn't it? It will going to make you very much obstacle there. So this is the thing we can find it, that when you are using the emotions, with the emotions what will going to come, this also going to make a very big effect on it, that what environment you are, which environment you are working. Next, what? Personal factors. Personal factors, your own requirement, own feelings, okay, your habits, your thinking, your way, your fear, your low confidence level, everything will going to make your work very much poor. Clear? Next is your culture. Obviously, this is one of the very important thing. If your culture is not good, that means from where you have built up your birth area, your guardians, if they are extremely good, extremely talented, obviously you will be an extremely talented person. But if they are not that much of talented, if you find in some house where the quarrel is going on, and it's not in that good atmosphere, the child is being grown up, obviously what you will going to find, you will going to find the culture is very bad. And when the culture is very bad, what will happen? The particular area, the child will be in a very bad position and will going to learn a very bad things. Okay, so culture is one of the very important things. So what we have learned: language, visual perceptions, past experiences, prejudice, okay, feelings, then environment, personal factors, and cultures. Okay, now here I am going to discuss with you about the 7 C's. The very effective communication. A communication can make a very effective. When the communication is made a very effective, there should be some principles are there. Those the principles you have to follow up. Okay, so we say that there are the 7 C's are there. What are the 7 C's? One is clear, one is conscious, one is concrete, one is correct, one is coherent, one is complete, and one is courteous. Okay, so all these things. First, clear, that what you want to say, what you are saying, sorry, what you are writing, you must be very much clear about the matter. Okay, if your answer is not proper, if your answer is not clear, obviously that cannot be understandable by anyone. And when it is not understandable by anyone, what you find it, that cannot be explained and that cannot be judged properly. Okay, so what you will say, you must be very clear about that what you are saying. Next is was conscious. You must be very conscious about your activities, your work, your needs, your requirement, everywhere, in the class as well as in your home, everywhere. If you are not conscious about the matter, obviously you will going to get a very bad effect on it. Clear? Next, what? Concerned, that you must concerned about the words that you are using, the phrases that you are using, the facts that you are using, and the figures that you are using. Okay. Next, what we can, sorry, next what we can find, the correct. The thing what you will going to say, what you will going to write, all things should be very much correct. Okay, spelling should be correct, grammatically it should be correct. Clear? Then we find it coherent. Coherent means the word that should be sensed and it should be related with the main topic. That means what the topic we are like. Today I am discussing about the communication system. So you see here my all the sub part or sub part is related with this particular system only, about the communication skill or communication system. Okay, next what we can find it complete. The thing what you will going to say, the thing what you will going to say, that should be complete. The message should not be incomplete, because incomplete message gives the improper information. Okay, after you it gives an improper information, it can make a different type of chaos in a different area. Next what we find that you must be very much respectful to your friends, to your family, to the teachers. Okay, and you must be very much honest. So those the 7 C's area or the 7 C part, if you can fulfill them, if you can fulfill them, then we can say your work or your communication is a very much effective communication. So 7 C's is very much important. What are the 7 C's? First is clear, then conscious, then what? Concrete, then correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. Okay, so those are the 7 points or 7 C's that should be there, and based on those things what you are going to find, that you can do your work. So what we find is that when you do the communication, communication can be of different types, but here we will going to study basic three, and under that there are the many subdivision that I am going to discuss in the next session. They are what? Non-verbal communication, verbal communication, and visual communication. Okay, so in the next session or the next class we are going to discuss about it. So what we have discussed, we have discussed what is communication, what are the important elements of the communication, with the help of what we can do the communication, what should be there in a communication. Okay, so those the things what we can find, it should be there and it to be worked out. Okay, and the different communication factors, different effective factors of the communication, that is 7 C's. Clear? So this is how we can build up the communication system and we can make up the communication system. So thank you very much all of you. Today I am ending my session here. Thank you all.